Families, we would like to welcome you to a new school year in Simi Valley Unified School District. We have a lot of changes going on in the district. One of them is the new standards-based report card. Let's take a look at some of the changes happening to the new grading system. There are some fundamental differences between a traditional grading system and a standards-based grading system. In years past, your child has come home with a report card and you would see a letter grade on a subject such as math. Well, in a standards-based grading system, what we're going to do now is we're going to give each major standard a numeric score scale from 1 to 4. In a traditional grading system, your teacher would base the grades off percentages, calculating them using an average. In a standards-based grading system, what's different is we're going to use a 4-point rubric, and we're going to emphasize what is happening more recently in the semester. We're going to start looking at trends and how the student is performing with the standard most recently. In a traditional system, you'll notice that sometimes behavior, work habits, and effort are frequently part of the grade. Well, not in standards-based. In standards-based, we're going to be looking at tests, portfolios, projects, and performance tasks only. We're going to use the summative assessments. So what's wrong with the traditional grading system anyway? And I'm going to use a couple of slides to demonstrate that, but the first slide here I think does a decent job. If we look at the student's math score, he got a B-. Now that's great, we all understand that. That sort of means they're somewhere in the 80% range. But when we really think about it, what does that mean? Does that mean the student was good at place value and had trouble with fractions? And if it does mean that, then where does it say it on the report card? So what we're going to do in the new report card is we're going to give a numeric score based from 1 to 4 on each one of those major standards. With this type of reporting, we're going to be communicating with you better than ever with your child's progress toward mastery of the standard. Let's take a look at this slide to demonstrate one more time what's wrong with the traditional grading system. We're going to focus on two students in this graph, the student in blue and the student in green. Take a close look at the student in blue. They started off the year well enough, they were in the 80s, maybe it was review. Halfway through the semester, they began to struggle and they dropped off, scoring somewhere around the 40% range of the final assessment. The student in green was just the opposite. Really struggled at the beginning of the semester, started to build some confidence, and by the end of the semester, with the last assessment, they scored in the 90s. And what we do in traditional grading is we would average those two scores. And when we do that, you can see that the student in blue is still scoring 6% higher than the student in green. In fact, it shows the student in green only understands 60% of that standard. Well, it shows in the graph that at the time of reporting, she is in the 90%. So how do we fix this? Well, we fix this by looking at trends. What has a student done lately? We pay closer attention to the more recent assessments and we get away from averaging scores. So why are we shifting to a standards-based grading system? Two reasons. One, the students, and two, the parents. For the students, there is data that shows that they are more successful in a standards-based grading system. And for the parents, we are going to be communicating with you better than ever on how to guide and support your child's learning. The question that's on everyone's mind, what does this report card look like? Well, here it is. And instead of giving scores to reading, writing, math, and science and social studies, we're going to be giving scores to the major standards for reading and math. You're going to get a report card that shows number grades 4, 3, 2, or 1. And if it's in the first semester, you might see an asterisk, which represents this teacher has not yet assessed on that particular standard. And here it is. This is the 4-point scoring rubric that will guide teachers as they complete the report cards. The committee that put this together spent hours of research and used very careful language to get it right. Let's address a few important questions. My child has mostly 2s on the first semester report card. Is that okay? Yes, that's okay. Sometimes teachers aren't finished teaching the standards and have only taught part of the standard. Therefore, it's not possible to score above a 2 since 2 means partial achievement. Now, this question is important to understand. Do numbers translate into letter grades? And the answer is no. Avoid making the mistake of trying to translate a number into a letter grade. To truly understand what the number means, take the time to understand the rubric. One more real important concept when we talk about standards-based grading is that in the academic score, we are not going to include effort, participation, attitude, behavior, neatness, citizenship, extra credit, AR points. Those are not related to their progress with the standard. They're very important, and we understand that, but they belong with work habits and social skills. This part of the report card is just as important as the academic score. With these 8 work habits and social skills, we are going to be reporting on the students' effort, their attitude, their behavior, all of these things that make for a successful learner. We are not alone, people. Many of the districts locally are moving and shifting to a standards-based grading system, including Conejo, Oak Park, Moore Park, and even LA Unified. To provide some background of how we came up with the standards-based grading system, the district put together an 18-member committee of mostly K-5 teachers, a few administrators. We worked countless hours researching people who are leading the charge in standards-based grading, like Robert Marzano and Rick Wormelli. We gave teachers the largest voice in the room with the feedback from their surveys at the end of last year. And of course, we collected and reviewed countless documents from other local districts and districts abroad. We are so thrilled to bring this very exciting and positive change to our grading system, and we look forward to a school year filled with an enjoyable and rich learning experience for your child.